The conference room fell silent. Mark's voice had barely been audible, but his words hung in the air like thunder. Across the table, Catherine's expression shifted from confusion to understanding, her pen frozen mid-note. The tension between them was palpable, electric, dangerous. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I share stories that explore the complex emotions and difficult choices we face in life. Today's story is one that truly moved me, and I think it will resonate with many of you too. If it does, please hit that like button and subscribe to join our community of storytellers and listeners. Now, let's dive into this powerful story of sacrifice, boundaries, and unexpected connection. Mark Sullivan never imagined his life would come to this moment. Standing in his boss's office after hours, admitting feelings he had no right to have, watching her face as she processed his rejection. The journey to this point had been paved with grief, struggle, and unexpected connection. 3 years ago, Mark's world shattered when his wife Sarah died from aggressive pancreatic cancer, leaving him alone to raise their 8-year-old daughter Emma. The marketing firm where he worked had been understanding initially, but compassion rarely survives corporate restructuring. Catherine Reynolds arrived as the new department head 11 months after Sarah's passing. At 42, she had built her reputation on ruthless efficiency. Her sleek pantsuits and precise manner of speaking commanded respect, and her track record for turning around underperforming departments preceded her. Mark had heard the rumors, brilliant but merciless, with zero tolerance for personal problems interfering with work. Their first meeting had been brief and clinical. Catherine reviewed his file, noted his declining performance metrics, and set clear expectations for improvement. No mention was made of his personal circumstances, and Mark didn't volunteer the information. He needed this job, the health insurance, the stability, the routine it provided for Emma. So he nodded, promised to do better, and returned to his desk with dread settling in his stomach. For weeks, Mark pushed himself beyond breaking point to meet Catherine's standards. He stayed up after Emma went to bed, preparing presentations and catching up on emails. He called in favors for extended childcare. He missed Emma's soccer game to finish a client proposal. Each sacrifice felt like another betrayal of his promise to Sarah that their daughter would always come first. Emma noticed the changes. "You look tired, Daddy," she said one morning over cereal, her small face serious beneath her unruly brown curls, so like her mother's. "Are you sick like Mommy was?" The innocent question nearly broke him. "No, sweetheart," he'd assured her, pulling her into a tight hug. "Daddy's just busy with work. I'm not going anywhere." But the pace was unsustainable. The breaking point came during an important client meeting when the school nurse called about Emma's high fever. Mark faltered mid-presentation, aware of Catherine's sharp gaze from the end of the conference table. He finished hastily, then slipped her a note explaining he had a family emergency. Her slight frown and curt nod sent a chill through him, but Emma needed him. The following morning, Catherine summoned him to her office. After a night tending to Emma's fever, Mark was running on coffee and anxiety as he faced his boss's displeasure. "Your performance yesterday was disappointing," Catherine began without preamble. "The Westridge account is crucial for our quarterly targets." "I apologize," Mark said, fighting to keep his voice steady. "My daughter was ill. We all have personal responsibilities, Mark," Catherine interrupted. "But when you're at work, your focus needs to be here. I've noticed a pattern of early departures and distracted performance." Mark felt something snap inside him, not anger, but the quiet breaking of pretense. "My wife died last year," he said simply. "I'm raising our daughter alone. I'm doing my best to balance everything, but sometimes that's not possible." Catherine's expression hadn't changed, but something flickered in her eyes. "I'm sorry for your loss," she said after a moment, her tone softening slightly. "But this is a competitive industry. We need people who can deliver consistently." 2 weeks later, after Emma's school called about a possible sprained wrist during another important meeting, Mark knew something had to change. The next day, he requested a meeting with Catherine after hours. The office was quiet as most employees had left for the day. Catherine sat behind her desk, reviewing reports, her dark hair pulled back in its usual immaculate bun. She looked up when Mark knocked, gesturing for him to take a seat. "That I appreciate you making time," Mark began. "I've been trying to perform at the level you expect while being everything my daughter needs. I'm failing at both. I miss deadlines because Emma has nightmares about her mother dying. I miss her school events because I'm trying to finish projects. Neither of you is getting my best." Catherine's expression remained neutral. "What are you proposing?" "I'd like to request a modified schedule, perhaps 4 days in office and 1 day remote. I can make up hours in the evenings after Emma's asleep." "It's not ideal," Catherine interrupted. "We have deadlines and client expectations that don't conform to personal schedules." Mark felt desperation rising. "I understand that. But I'm a good marketer. Before Sarah got sick, I brought in major accounts. I can still deliver quality work, just differently." Catherine studied him for a long moment. "The company policy doesn't typically allow for such arrangements." Mark nodded, his heart sinking. "Then I may need to consider other options. My daughter has to come first." The silence stretched between them. Mark noticed for the first time how tired Catherine looked beneath her professional veneer. "I had a brother," Catherine said suddenly, her voice different, softer, less clipped. "He died when I was 12. Cancer, like your wife." She paused, looking past Mark to the darkening window. "My parents were present physically, but absent in every way that mattered. They were so consumed by grief and work that they forgot they still had a child who needed them." Mark remained silent, sensing she rarely shared this part of herself. "I built my career by compartmentalizing," she continued. "Work is work. Personal is personal. It's been effective, but perhaps not always human." She met his eyes directly. "Your daughter needs you. That's non-negotiable." To Mark's astonishment, Catherine offered him a flexible schedule, 3 days in office, 2 days remote. "This is conditional on performance," she warned. "I'm not doing this out of charity. I'm investing in a valuable employee who needs temporary accommodation." The new arrangement transformed both their lives. Emma's nightmares decreased, and she started smiling more. Mark's work improved without the constant anxiety of being pulled in 2 directions. Catherine remained demanding but fair, never mentioning their personal conversation again, yet showing unexpected understanding when family emergencies arose. 6 months later, at the company holiday party, Mark brought Emma when his childcare fell through. Catherine approached them, elegant in a simple black dress instead of her usual business attire. "You must be Emma," she said, bending slightly to meet the girl at eye level. "Your father talks about you all the time." Emma studied her solemnly. "Are you the boss lady who makes daddy work late?" Catherine laughed, a genuine sound Mark had rarely heard. "Yes, that's me. But I'm trying to be better about that." As the evening progressed, Mark found himself alone with Catherine near the windows overlooking the city lights. Something had shifted between them over the months, a mutual respect that had gradually evolved into something more complex. "Mark," Catherine said suddenly, her voice hesitant, "would you and Emma like to join me for dinner sometime? Not work-related. Just dinner." The question caught him off guard. He looked at her, really looked, and saw not just his demanding boss but a woman who had shared a painful piece of her past with him, who had bent her rigid rules to help him when he needed it most. She was attractive, yes, but more than that, she was strong and complex and unexpectedly kind beneath her professional exterior, and in that moment, he recognized the dangerous territory they were entering. The boundaries between them, boss and employee, 2 people connected by circumstance and growing attraction, were blurring in ways that terrified him. I don't know if that's a good idea," he said quietly. Catherine's expression closed slightly. "Of course. It was just a thought." "No, it's not," Mark struggled to articulate the sudden confusion he felt. It's just that Emma is still processing her mother's death, and I'm her father.